friends, welcome back to my channel. A warm welcomes to you all. And for those of you that are in the UK, happy Mother's Day. Yes, I'm recording on Mother's Day because I have maybe a 3-hour window to do this video, update you on very little that I have done and more about other stuff, before I then change my attire and jump up on the scaffolding in the roof and start laying some more floor joists. So it's all exciting stuff here. It's exciting but tiring. Therefore, the coming months are likely to have very little stitching in them, if any at all. But I already explained all this before. So grab your beverage of choice, sit back, relax, and let's see what I did actually manage to do in February. So I would love to sit here and tell you that February was super productive and I'd done so much stuff, but reality check, people, I didn't. February was a lot of planning and other stuff, house renovation prep, about what we was going to do, how we was going to do it, what we needed to do, quotes, emailing. So although there was a bit of time for stitching, it wasn't massive. So the stitching side of this video is likely to be very short and sweet. So just as a heads up, you're probably wondering, why am I showing you this view? Because this is it's not a new view. You have seen it, but it's sort of a new view. Crux of it are, this is my single story extension that was built that has nothing over the top of it other than a bit of scaffolding. So therefore, it's the cleanest part of the house. More about that as we go along. But needless to say, I haven't done any housework. Because it just seems pointless right now in a white house to be cleaning when we're working overhead and there's bits of plaster falling from the ceiling and, you know, dust and fluff and everything falling through the fixtures and fittings from the floor upstairs or from the roof upstairs. So rather than try and do this in the study or try and resurrect the kitchen, I thought, well, nothing's falling from the sky in here. This is just general, you know, house cleaning dirt. So I'm cool with that. So you can see my dust. I don't mind. I'm not proud. Not anymore anyway. So where should we start? So like I said, not massive amounts of stitching in February, but not no stitching. So what I have got, I can show you. Where to start. So let's start with alternative reality. Now I must say, I was planning, she says, to make sure that I conformed to my whip go. It started very well. January I completed, February I completed. This month, the fact that this isn't my March update, but then I don't think there's going to be a March update. So that was another reason that I thought I'd come on here and talk to you now, because the likelihoods of me doing any stitching in the month of March or the month of April are extremely slim. But so many people have said that you want to see what I'm doing. So I will try and do some vlogging type of videos about the house build and maybe the garden, because the tulips and the daffies and the crocuses they're all up. They just haven't quite flowered yet. So, but then I haven't really done much in the garden. I have started the dahlias in the greenhouse though. They're all on some heat underneath, but more about that as we go. So first up is alternative reality, and where I've got pictures of where you last saw it, I will be showing you those now. Alternative reality got 2, 4, 6, 8. So I got 10 days in February on alternative reality, and I don't think we did too bad, people. Not too bad at all. So this is where we've got to. Let me just see if I can see what you're seeing. Where was I working? So basically, yeah, so I've been doing all of this section here. So we're just working our way down. And that is a page finish across there. Obviously, I didn't manage the page finish, but I'm pretty impressed with the progress that I did make. And I got into a bit of a flow with it this time. Just while I was sitting about, you know, and whereas before I'd be like, I have to get, you know, 200 or 400 stitches. I was like, well, if I only get 10 stitches, I'm fine. It's 10 stitches more than I got before. So yeah, so that is alternative reality. So that did actually get quite a lot of love in February, because again, this and Evening in the Park are my focus pieces for this year, because I really would like to have some finishes. I've forgotten what finishes are. I know that some of you just get some amazing finishes and lots of them. I, on the other hand, don't seem to manage that. What's next? So if we go with Castles in the Air, so this is the Long Dog sampler, where I've got information about the fabrics that I'm using, I will put it along the bottom, because I've completely forgotten what fabrics I'm using for these. But then I feel like I'm starting to lose my mind anyway. So let me tighten this up, because this is actually on the frame, because I've been trying, she says, loosely trying to do a spot of stitching when I'm not building something. But when I'm not building something at the moment, all I want to do is sit and not move, because everything hurts. So I keep the stitching out. As you can see, stand is, she says, lean back. Stand is, this is my stitching spot. I don't know if I've shown you this. So this is the stitching spot. That is my seat, my light, my stand, my little table. That's where I sit and stitch while hubby sits and watches TV. There you go. You've just seen the stitchy spot, people. So Castles in the Air got 4 days in February. And again, where you last saw it, I will try and show you pictures of that. And the fabric, again, I will hopefully be able to tell you. So this is the one on the very, very pink. Now, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see that it's pretty damn pink. I should really try and put something behind it, but I haven't got anything. So we're just gonna work with this, people. Don't you love this video already? So this is where I've got to. Let me stand up. It might be easier. Oh, there we go. You can see it a bit better. So I have been stitching this section here and finishing the crown section up here. So that is where we have got to on this one. And she says, look, there's just so much light. Hold on. I've got a plan. Let me put my plans, my building plans behind it. There we go. That's better. You don't have to see the light through it now. So this is the one where I am using Silks for You thread. I think it's PR 161. And then I'm using, what is it? Krennic for the shiny bits. See, so where there's a bit of sparkle, that's what I'm using. Let me just grab you there. Look, we're going all over this time, people. Oh my God, did you just see me in my glorious attire with the funky slippers? You're seeing it real. This is so real today, because I haven't got time to plan this. I haven't got time to organise. So I'm just like, quick, throw the video together. What do you reckon on this style of video? This is real. So this is the thread. As you can see, it comes like it's a hank of silk thread by Silks for You. Like I say, PR 161, which is like a really variegated grey, so it goes from dark to light. And all I do is cut the hank and put it onto one of these, and then just stick it on my stand. And then where I use that whole pull one thread, let me get a needle and do a demonstration. So what I do, just so that you can see, I mean, it doesn't look fabulous. Look, I've literally, let me show you how we did this, for those that are confused. So there's our hank, well, my portion of hank that I've cut. And then I fold it in half. So these are my loose ends, and this is my round end, or my folded end. I pull it through the loop, and I keep my finger through it so that I don't get them mixed up. And then literally, I pull my loose ends through, and then give it a good tug. It looks like a bit like a tie now, look. It's a good job I'm not a boy and don't have to wear a tie for work, because that would be atrocious. But that's basically how I keep them on my little hangers, and then I hang that on my stand. So then to take a thread for your single strand, people, here we go. So literally I'll just pick, oh, hang on. I will pick one of the strands, any strand will do. So that's like one whole set, but I'll leave it on there. Select one little, oh, can you see that? No, you can't see that. I don't know, you can. One little section of it. And pull it. Now, everyone asks me about variegated thread, how to use it, you know. Now, what you can't do with this, because it's got like dark at this end, and then it goes light in the middle, and then it goes dark this end. The one thing you do have to do when you pull this thread, you can't just fold it in half and use it, because you're going to lose some of your variegation. It's fine if you're happy to lose some of your variegation, but the fact that I spent that money to get that variegation so that I add dark areas and light areas. So what I will do is, as I pull it off, I keep it in orientation of when it come off, and then I'll lay that one down there. So I've still got my finger holding the strand. So I will then again, see, I'm just selecting one off of that strand that's attached to my finger, and then I'll stick my finger through where I'm pulling it, and as I pull that out, same thing happens. So now I know that this end is my dark end and this end is my light end, so that when I want to do my two strands, there we go, you put them together, and that is my dark to light, but still allowing myself to pull one strand. Which, if you're not using two strands, then you just pull your one strand, and that's how you would do it. But if you're like me and you're working with two strands, because I've cut the hank and I don't want to double up so that I lose that beautiful variegation, that's how I do it. It's just so that you know. There we go. See, and you've seen my funky slippers and the way I trudge around the house normally now. It's so not glamorous here. So yeah, so that is how I work with my cut down hank of silk thread. And then that is, and people often ask me, how big are my strands that I work with? Now, I confess, I actually use quite long strands of silk. So just as an example, if that is my strands there that I'm actually going to stitch with, and bear in mind these are not doubled up, so this isn't like I'm going to do a loop start, in which case it's basically, yeah. See, loop start normally I would do from my hand to my elbow twice, so that it would double and that would loop. But because this is single strand, well, this is a double stranded stitching, but I'm stitching in the same colour constantly throughout, apart from the odd area where I'm putting some krennic in, I will do a much longer strand so that I don't have to keep changing, and so that I don't have to keep rethreading the needle. So this strand is basically arm span. That's how long it is. I'm holding it in this hand and it stops there. And that is the length that I will stitch for my variegated thread, because I'm using just one colour. So there we go. So for those that were asking, little enlightenment. Right, let me just put this back on my little loop so that I don't lose that little set. See? You could do that if you're the sort of person that gets a bit fed up with keep trying to separate all your strands. You could do this a number of times and then stick those on there, and I've done exactly the same thing, and then you can just take those off as you need them. You could have like a bunch of them around this end. Completely, you know, it's just an idea. But sometimes that'll be what I'll do, where I'll just sort of make my little 2-strand sets and then reattach them to the hoop and do it that way. So there we go. Oh, never thought I was going to demonstrate that. So there we go. So that is where we've got to on Castles in the Air. Castles in the Air, because it's so big, but it is a very easy one. It's, you know, it's a no-brain think type of stitching. That's the reason that that one is on the frame, because I'm getting so little time to do any stitching. I'm like, well, I want something set up on the frame, so I've got it. But I don't want something, well, I know that I'm not going to want something that's going to really test my brain, because the only time that I'm getting to do any stitching normally is when I'm super tired and I've down tools. So in which case, you know, I don't want something that really is going to be brain testing. So I'm having that one set up on the stand over there, out of the way of the dust. It has a cover. Here we go again. Shell's Patch on Facebook, I'll put a link below. She makes, I don't know whether she can now because she's so busy. I know she's been really busy with face masks and stuff, but you'll have to excuse the fluff, people, and the dog fur on this, because like I say, haven't done any housework. So she made me these covers. See? So they are literally covers that go over my stitching whilst my stitching is on the frame. So whilst this is like this, I put the cover over it, keeps it nice and clean, so that I don't need to worry about, you know, not, this one doesn't fit on here. I have various ones that she's made me, but as an example, so I don't know where the bigger one is, if I'm honest. It's in the cupboard somewhere, but the crux of it are, the way it works is it goes over my frame like so, covers all my stitching up, and then this sits on the frame over there. And that way, it doesn't matter if I don't stitch it. If I don't stitch it, it's all covered up. But it's set up, it's ready to go. All I've got to do is pick up a strand and do a strand, which is sort of where my thought process is going right now, because I'm like, well, the fact that I can't guarantee I'm going to get to any stitching or feel like I'm going to want to do any stitching, if you're anything like me, if you're a bit like, I don't know if I fancy stitching or if I'm too tired to stitch, if you know that you've got to set something up and do this and do that, it'll be like, can't be bothered. No, I'll just sit here and watch TV. This way, it's like, well, I'll do one strand, see how it feels. And then if I actually get into the groove, then I'll stitch more. But if I'm not, then I can do a few stitches and then just go, put the needle down, cover it back up. It's just all sitting there. It's literally at your fingertips, ready to go. So that's my thought process. Have one, a very simple project to work on. Two, something that doesn't really need a lot of colour changes. And three, if it's all set and ready to go, it's not like I've got to go and drag something out and then get all the threads out. And yeah, this was sort of my way of thinking. So next, what else did I manage to achieve? So this is like token gesture, people. So I managed to get one day on my Cricut Collection Winter. Here's what it will look like when it's done, because I want to try and get the whole series, like the season set. This is the one that is in my, oh, there's bits falling on the floor now. Ah, we're back. So this is the one that is in my floss folder. It's not well organised yet. Here's my floss folder. Look, it's all bits hanging out. I love it. I love this. It's got so many pockets and things on it that I could just throw things in. The chart and the stuff is going into this pocket here. She says, come on. There we go. It's upside down now, but you get the gist. So that's how this is being stored. What I like about this is all of these little thread holder cards can come out as well, so that they're not attached to it. So this is the floss folder that is made by Ladybird. I think she's called Ladybird. It's on Etsy. She does lots of beautiful, beautiful things. Absolutely love it. Such a crafty lady. And it folds up into a little, that handbag size. You know how much I love handbag size. I mean, literally, and oh, and it comes with this little alt catcher as well. So, no mess. Which in my case is, well, everything needs to be no mess at the moment. So, winter, it got one day. Of course, this is my little office project. Not that I've had time to do it. And I think we did a stitch with, I done a stitch with me where I was discussing how much I dislike the white. So, that is the token gesture, people, of what I managed. Let's turn the snowman around the right way, shall we? There we go. There we go. Token gesture. And I have to confess, there have been so many comments on that video specifically and various other videos that I just haven't had a chance to get back to either giving everyone a heart or answering any questions. So I am working my way through it, people, as and when I can. But as you know, as I've already said, I'm on limited time. So if it looks like I've ignored you, please don't think that I've ignored you. I haven't ignored anyone. It's just that I'm still getting there. I've just not got there yet. I've just realised I've thrown everything on the floor. Oh, what a video this is going to be. And because I haven't got time to edit, because it is already 8:15 in the morning, so by about 9:30 I will be up on the roof. There's a song that goes with, isn't there? Up on the roof. Yeah, no, let's not go there. So literally, this video is, as you see it is, well, as I'm doing it is how you're going to get it. And I apologise if you don't like that and you like it much more professional. Sorry, I was just swiping an email away then. Oh, what else? So, the only other project that I've actually managed to make any real serious dent on, and I'm so pleased that I did in February, I think I must have had it in my mind that I knew I wasn't going to have much time for the next couple of months, and because I love it so much and I know that I'd get withdrawal symptoms, I decided that I would stitch on it, yeah, as much as I could. Sorry people, I've got to have my coffee. So, just looking at my information on my planner. See, this is how I do my planner. Oh, see? And then it tells me how much stitching I've done. So yeah, evening in the park, mostly got a lot of stitching done in January because I went on a bit of a evening in the park mission. Again, this is Evening in the Park by Chatelaine. I'll put all the information in this bit below, and you should be seeing it where you last saw it. And this is the one that I always put the felt in between the layers as I roll it, so that it doesn't mess with my beadwork, because this one is being beaded as we go. So I can't remember exactly where you last saw it. I know that I was sort of, you know, trying to make quite a big dent in it. And this one's such a biggie. And it's so close, yet so far. But we've been there. We've talked about that. So, okay. Let me move my chair back. So, Evening in the Park. So, I worked on the lanterns on both sides, finished the borders on both sides. Roll her up a little bit. And I started on the gate this side, and you can just see, well, she says, the outline of the gate that side. So it would help if you didn't see through it, but I can't really do anything about that because I have light behind me. Let me see if I can use my felt to disguise. There we go. She says, so that is where I've got to. But with this one, I daren't pull this out at the moment because I'm too frightened. I'm too frightened that the dust is going to get to it. And I'm like, then what do I do? Because this is a hand-dyed fabric. So being on a hand-dyed fabric, I can't wash it. And a lot of the threads, because they are hand-dyed and silks, I wouldn't want to try and wash this in case I ruined it. I didn't spend all this time stitching on it, only to then ruin it by washing it. So let me stand there. There we go. So in total, it's getting there, people. It's getting there. Oh. But yeah, absolutely love this one. But I'm at the moment keeping it very much out the way because, well, the building work, I mean, I don't know how it works. So for those of you that don't live in the UK, our houses are dinky in comparison to your houses in America and Canada and, well, most countries. We have like the smallest houses ever, which is why everyone says, oh, the British houses are so quaint. They're not quaint, they're just small. And because of that, having these little dinky houses, we love to do our, conversions to try and make them a little bit bigger. But my house isn't actually a house. My house is a bungalow, which is basically a single story house with 4 bedrooms. So this section that I'm in now is my extension area, which was an add-on. It doesn't have an upstairs. It has like a big hole. It's got a roof lantern so that there's lots of light coming in. But there's nothing above this and nothing can go above this. But everything from sort of, see that post there? That is the original, well, that's the divide between the new bit and the old bit. So we're doing a loft conversion this side, which basically just means that it's like a chalet style house. So we'll have 2 front dormers and a big rear dormer into that portion of the house. Hence the reason why I said that this is the only area that I can, it's the less of the messy areas. So the fact that we're going up this side, the problem with that is the way that the houses are designed is when we go up into the loft and then you lift up, all of the insulation in the ceilings, literally the only gap is between the floor joists upstairs or the roof joists and the plasterboard of the ceiling. There lies the problem. So every time we go upstairs and where we took all the insulation out and we're walking and banging about, where the ceilings are flexing because they're not super supported with the new floor joist yet, the floor, basically the ceiling's springy. So slowly but surely, all of the seams around the edges of all the supporting walls with the ceilings are starting to crack. So bits of bits of the ceiling are falling off. And then where we've got the fixtures and fittings that go into the ceiling, as we're walking around and drilling or doing whatever, all the bits and pieces are falling through the fixtures and fittings. So literally underneath every single ceiling light, there's like a pile of dust and fluff and dirt and brick that's falling on the floor. So yeah, hence the reason why she is being very well looked after, hidden away in her sleeves well, all of my projects. So basically, other than the project that's out on the floor stand, which at the moment is Castles in the Air, everything else is in a sleeve. She says, if I can get her in her sleeve. Come on. Come on. Little coaxing required. It doesn't help that I'm working with my left hand instead of my right. There we go. Come on. There we go. So all of my projects now are in these bags that I made, and they're now in a cupboard in the study, because I daren't hang them in case the dust and fluff manages to get into these tops. I did put ribbons and stuff on to tie them up, like so, but you know what we're like about our stitching. If you're anything like me, there is no way I'm going to take any risk with it. So although it does have little tie-ups and would normally hang up on a little coat hanger on the wall for all my projects, all of these projects are now in a cupboard out the way, because I just daren't let them get ruined by anything that we might be doing upstairs. So that is it on the stitching side. 34 minutes in, I've probably rambled already about a load of nothingness, but I have managed to show you what I've managed to do. So, like I say, this is February's update. I know it is like, what day is it today? Yeah, it's the 14th of March. So I am 2 weeks overdue with updating you on February, but it is what it is. This is February. So basically what I'm showing you now is everything I've done in February. March, there will be no stitching update. I can almost guarantee it. I mean, we're 14 days into March. The build is, yeah, well, it's just me and my husband, so enough said. You know, if I'm not working, I'm upstairs building with him. So therefore, when I do eventually come down and we stop building, by the time I've done dinner, had a shower, and sit my very weary bones down on the sofa, I don't feel like doing much of anything, and certainly don't have the brain power to be sitting there doing very much stitching. So I can confidently say it's very unlikely that you'll have a update for March, and possibly even for April, depending on how long all this takes, which is going to take more than a month. I mean, 2-3 months, I think, if all goes according to plan. However, where I can, if I get an opportunity to do a bit of stitching, I might do a stitch with me. You know, the one like I did before, where I sat and stitched whilst everything was going on around me, and then I did like a little voiceover over the top to talk to you. Then maybe that might be an option, because at least that way, if I do decide to do a bit of stitching, I don't need to make sure that it's all super quiet and peaceful, which in this house at the moment, with everything that's going on, there is no peace and quiet. There's normally banging or nails or, you know, dragging or people walking on the ceiling, and yeah. So yeah, I think that will be the only video that you will see over the coming months, other than life update. So if you're just here for the stitching, then I thank you so much for coming and checking in with me and seeing this rather odd recorded video where you saw, yeah, you know, my slothy, normal, everyday life of, you know, fluffy slippers and leggings. Don't you find that? Since we're all in lockdown, that's all you wear, fluffy slippers and leggings. And of course, in my case at the moment, a jumper, because there's no insulation in the house and it's not warm. So yeah, lots of fluffy jumpers going on. So yeah, like I say, odd video this time round for those that were here just for the stitching. If I can get some stitch with me's done, then there will be voiceover stitch with me, so at least you'll get a bit of stitching time. But updates, monthly updates, I think for the next month or so, it will be like I'm on like a little hiatus as far as stitching is concerned. But that's not to say that I won't do a bit more sort of welcome to my house build. Yeah. Because a lot of you have sort of said, well, even if you don't see a stitching video with me, you would rather see me, even if it's doing something that's really not anything related to stitching. So for the fact that so many people said to do it, if I can find the time to do recording whilst I'm up there, then obviously I will, you know, take you along for the ride and just pop in to see you and do an update that way. So for those that were here just for the stitching, thank you so much. It's been lovely to hang out, and I will see you next time. For those that wanted a little bit more juicy details about what I've been doing and, you know, the sagas of Teresa's house build, then stick around because, yeah, there have been some sagas. So first of all, for those that don't know about plans, here in the UK we have to have all of our planning permission and building regulations, and so eventually my house, my little quaint little house, should look something like that from the front. That's the new side elevation. And something like that at the back. I told you we had quaint little houses. So that is the game plan, and that is what we're working to. But would you believe it? So first of all, the scaffolders turned around and said a week or two early, or we can come in and do your scaffolding. So we're like, oh, weren't quite ready for you. And they were like, well, you know, you can have it for as long as you need it. So I was like, all right then, come round with it. Well, my God, we've got what's known as a tin roof. I'll insert some pictures so you can see what the tin roof is. Basically, it's scaffolding that goes up on all sides of the house, a tin roof across the top, and then it has like a tarpaulin thing all the way around. Well, would you believe it, that the one time that we have this installed, so that, you know, because our thoughts were, well, if we're going to do this build, or we're going to rip the roof off the house, and the fact that it's not summer, and even when it's summer, you can't guarantee in England that you're not going to get rain. It's like, well, you know, if we've got a top hat on, because that's what they're called, if we've got like the tin roof top hat, then it really doesn't matter what the weather does, because, you know, the house isn't, you know, we're not going to leak. So it was like, well, that way, come rain, come shine, we're protected, and we can take parts of the roof off and not have to worry. Little did we think at the time that we would be looking at high winds. So this weekend just gone, bearing in mind that the top hat was only put on, I don't know, within days of that, all of a sudden we had a weather warning for high winds, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's not a problem. And then, because then the wind started, and the guys turned around and said to us, well, the tarpaulin around the outside is attached with these bungees. And they said, well, it's good. Oh, here comes the sun, people. Oh, what do we do now? Oh, look, I've got a nice halo look going on. Go away, sun. There has to be a cloud soon. Hello, Fudge. Fudge is joining us now. Do you want to say hi to Fudge? Let me put Fudge on the sofa. So Fudge is now on the sofa. This is a whole new video, look. Oh, there's Fudge. Fudge. Hello, baby. Now, Fudge is deaf and can't hear anything, and we've just been given news as well that he's in full heart failure. So the poor old man is, yeah, he's doing okay. As you can tell, he's got a rather nasty cough, which he does frequently. But he is nearly 12 years old. Oh, okay. You're going to destroy the sofa. Oh, no, you're going to sit on the cushion. He's so adorable. He is such a mummy's boy. Oh, dear. But he's totally deaf, so he can't hear a thing. Would you believe? Okay, so looks like the sun might be going down. But you can just focus in on the dog. Don't focus on me. Focus on him, and then you won't see this horrible line thing going through. So as I was saying, the high winds came, the scaffolders said the bungees and the tarpaulin are good up to about 35 to 38 mile an hour winds. Of course, we got more than that. Before I knew it, it sounded, well, it was like, I felt like something out of Wizard of Oz. I was like, I'm going to be clicking my feet in a minute saying there's no place like home, and we're just going to lift off. It was the noise level, because we'd ripped all of the roof tiles off, and all the insulation out, it was like being in a tent. You could hear everything. And the fact that the noise was so loud and on a tin roof as well, yeah, it was frightening. I've got to be honest. I did get a bit worried. And then obviously the tarpaulin all started coming off, which then I was thinking, oh my God, it's going to take out the neighbours' aerials. It's going to, you know, it's going to damage everything. It was a bit of a nightmare. So we had 2 days of really high winds. The scaffolders come back and made us safe. And I don't know what to do about that light, because that's really annoying now, isn't it? Okay, so we needed a little camera angle change there, just because the light was it was blinding me, so it must have been blinding you. So like I said, the scaffolders said that the tarpaulin was safe up until about 35 to 38 miles an hour. And true enough, they were right. The only trouble was we got way over that. So we got to about 50 or 60 mile an hour winds. So needless to say, all the scaffolding was sort of intact, but all of the tarpaulin started to get blown off. And I was just worried that it was gonna, you know, damage things or just disappear, blow off down the road, and I'd have to chase it. But all this was going on in the middle of the night, and all you could hear was all the creaking from the scaffolding because it was making a hell of a noise. So I literally camped out in the living room on the sofa and just kept looking up through the atrium and watching the scaffolding, and I'm thinking, if that starts to move, we're in serious trouble. So between that and then going out the front and checking to make sure, and then seeing all the tarpaulin falling off the house, it was just like, really? Of all the times in the world to have this giant sow over my house, we have high winds. And it's like, we haven't had high winds in ages. And it's the one time. So I took into consideration all the factors of nature and the elements, you know. Not once did it actually occur to me, what do you do if you have high winds when you've got this huge monstrosity over the top of the house? So yeah, that was a hair-raising experience. Scaffolders came back and made us safe again. Good lads they were. They came back on the day. And it was fine. They reattached everything, made sure that, you know, we was watertight again to a certain extent. So then obviously all of the roof stayed intact. We didn't have rain coming in or anything. We was quite lucky that whilst it was really high winds, there was no rain. But when they made us watertight, then yesterday and the day before, we had loads and loads of rain. So it was just like, thankfully, the tarpaulin was done, because the rain wasn't coming down straight, because although we haven't got high winds, it's still been quite gusty. So the winds have been coming in diagonal. And then yesterday, to top it all, we're outside trying to cut our floor joists. So we've got like all the tools out on the driveway and all the wood on the driveway. And we're trying to cut, anyway, we've done about, I don't know, 10 sets of floor joists, and we was dragging them up onto the scaffolding and putting them in the roof and putting them in situ. And all of a sudden I heard this noise. And I like looked at him and I was like, is that rain? Because obviously being on a tin roof, you hear lots of noise. So I'm like, is that rain? When we come out, not only was it rain, it was hailstones. So there we were running around like lunatics trying to get all of the electrical stuff underneath the scaffolding, so that, yeah. It's fun, people. It's fun. Needless to say that, you know, my hands hurt, my wrists hurt, my hip hurts, my back hurts, my arms hurt. There is just, yeah, I'm probably gonna age 10 more years within 2 months at this rate. But it's looking as it should. Doesn't look glamorous yet, doesn't look even remotely there yet, but we're making some progress. So where I've got video footage, so I can, you know, show you a scan of the roof. I mean, we haven't took all of the roof off. We've took all the tiles off, and we've made a hole in one side, because we're a little worried, hence the high winds and what happened there. We're a little worried to take off the battens and the rather unhelpful holey felt, which is sort of an element of water resistance. So at the moment we're trying to keep as much intact as we can, as a just in case, you know, why pull off what we don't need to if we don't need to. But yeah, so we are making progress. But like I say, it's not gonna be something that's gonna be done super quickly, because it is just me and my husband doing it. So yeah, it's gonna take as long as it takes. But as I said to him, I don't care about the internals. I went, just get us watertight again. Literally, get the roof structure changed, get the dormers in, like the big dormer at the back, get the 2 dormers at the front. I don't care whether they've got windows. I don't have to have windows yet. We can board it up. Just make it so that we're watertight and we get the tiles back on the roof and get the scaffolding down. That's all I care about, because by then the summer's going to be here, and I don't know about you, but I like to spend a bit of time in the space that I've got before I start doing, you know, final fix and the plaster boards, and, you know, deciding which way the doors are going, and, you know, where I'm going to put the bath, where I'm going to put the shower, where I'm going to put the toilet. I said to him, I would rather like it if we could just do the externals and then put all the internal dividing walls up and then just leave it. And then that way I can just keep going up there and walking around the space to decide what I want where, rather than just being, oh right, well, because it's done, we've got to crack on and we've got to get this and we've got to do that, because I like to play with my space first. So yeah, so it works for us, as, you know, not having builders in, so that, you know, they want to do, you know, first fix, second fix, final fix, all straight away as part of the build. And I said, in the summer, it's going to be glorious weather. I don't want to be stuck indoors doing plasterboarding and painting and decorating and fitting a bathroom in the middle of the summer. I said, you know, we've got all the time in the world for that. And as I said to my husband, it's not a necessity, it's a luxury. So what is going upstairs is basically a master bedroom, ensuite and dressing room. So yeah, we've coped quite perfectly without it. The damn sun's back again, isn't it? I can't make it go away, people, so I'm gonna have to shut up. Shut up and, yeah, go and do something. So yeah, so like I say, it's a master bedroom, an ensuite and dressing room. It's a luxury. It takes as long as it takes. The only thing I care about right now is getting watertight again. After that, we can down tools, enjoy the summer, play in the garden, catch some tan and some rays. And then when the weather's not so good, then we can go up and do plasterboarding and electrics and plumbing and bathrooms and, yeah, and do the nice finer things. So yeah, I'm in no rush. I've waited, at least 5 years, possibly 10 years for this. So another year, another 6 months isn't going to kill me. And I will forewarn you, people. So for those of you that want to see, you know, a bit of vlogging about the loft conversion and, you know, me being the lackey, and it's not glamorous. I'm normally covered in dust all over my face. My hair's slicked to my head. There's not an ounce of makeup. And I'm wearing my work clothes. So there will be no glamorous Teresa at that point. You will see someone completely different. But it will be very enlightening, very insightful. But I'm not proud, and I'll share it with you if you really want to see that. So that is it, and thank you so much, people. Fingers crossed, over the course of this month I will be able to sort of do bits and pieces videos with the loft conversion. And for those that still want to see some stitching, I might, fingers crossed, I can't guarantee it, will be able to get a stitch with me with a talk over. But again, that is all going to be down to time, and if I can find some time to even do any stitching. So yeah, so on that note, people, I now need to get out of my groovy slippers and leggings, put my work clothes on, and head on up on the roof. So thank you for hanging out, and I hope you're all well, and I hope, fingers crossed, that everyone's starting to show signs of unlocking, or at least we're getting much closer to it here in the UK. I know we are. We're getting very close, but we're not quite there yet. So stay safe, people. And again, thank you so much for all your support, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.